morning, dear friends. Welcome to another segment of Elements of Faith. I'm Deacon Tom with the Shelby County Catholic Community in Shelby County, Indiana. It's good to be with you this morning on this beautiful spring morning. This is being recorded on Saturday morning, the 18th of April, and as I sit here in my living room, the sun's just beaming through on this beautiful spring morning. It's a marvelous season, and when we couple that with the Easter season that we're in and just coming off of the octave of Easter, it's just it could be more beautiful time of year. So it's good to be with you on this beautiful spring morning. I offer a reflection this morning based on a chapter out of Rediscover the Saints. If I'm staying on schedule with that study that we're doing at St. Vincent and St. Joseph, it puts us this week on Bernard. It just so happens last week's study is on St. Thomas, the Apostle, who is my patron saint. So that got my attention a week ago this morning as I read about St. Thomas. And it's interesting, coming out of that, I had a thought. And as I processed that thought, this is a little bit more than that. And what the thought was, Tom, you need to write daily reflections, 365 daily reflections on the topic of do not be afraid. Now, that's a lot for me to bite off. And at that time I was thinking, this is just a thought. So I pulled my wife Judy into the conversation. I pulled Father Mike into the conversation, and they both affirmed that that was a good thought. And it turns out, I think it's more than thought, it's a vocation. And I need to cooperate and collaborate a little bit better with God and being able to fulfill that. And in so doing, I'm collaborating and cooperating with Father Mike in those 365 reflections. So Father Mike and I will write these reflections 365 consecutive days on the topic Scripture addresses and do not be afraid. Now, interestingly, I was affirmed that this is a vocation, and it came out of the study of Bernard in the book Rediscover the Saints. And this is what I read. God yearns to collaborate with you. Do not be afraid. Be bold. Live boldly, even if you are surrounded by cowards and critics. And I'm sure there are critics that would say there's no way you guys can find enough evidence for 365 scripture passages addressing do not be afraid. Well, we're going to find out. Then the other affirmation I received came through my sister-in-law on Facebook. Now, that's an interesting story in itself, that I was not a member of Facebook until about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I finally became a member through the promptings and urgings and proddings of Father Mike. So if I have not been on Facebook, I've not seen this posting from my sister-in-law Sherry and the affirmation I received on April 15th. And she took a picture of 2 pages from a devotional that she's doing. And for April 15th, that particular reflection addressed, do not be afraid. Well, at that point, I knew that it was no longer a thought, that it's a vocation. To be bold and to commit to writing these reflections with Father Mike's help and in collaboration with God to address do not be afraid. So it's interesting, the subtitle of this chapter on Bernard is titled In Search of Excellence, and it closes with these comments, live boldly, be bold. I think that's the answer. If we are in search of excellence, it comes through living boldly and being bold in how we go about living our lives. Looks like Father Mike and I are committed to being bold in a way of committing to write a short reflection each day, and hopefully it will help you in some way of being bold and not fearing and living out of love. So how will you live in search of excellence? Will you be bold? Will you live boldly? Is that expressed through reaching out to someone through a text message just to see how they're okay? Is it offering to buy somebody groceries, to do some shopping for them, for those who aren't as capable as you are? Is it putting the sign of cross on your children's foreheads every day before you get on with your day. There are so many ways to be more bold in living our lives daily. How do you feel called to do that? Are you in search of excellence? And I think you are. And you're on your way to being a saint. I look forward to traveling that journey with you. So take care. God bless. Be safe. Be well.